right? The only positive thing I can say about the Chicago Bears roster right now is Justin Fields. Couple of play, you have your Jalen Jones, your Jalen Johnson, your Kyle Gordon, you have your Jaquan Brisker, Jack Sanborn, stuff like that. Like we have some pieces, but talent wise, roster wise, looking at the NFC North, Minnesota's got a better roster than us. Detroit's got a better roster than us. Green Bay's got a better roster than us. So what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago with Ryan Poles being that talent acquisition phase, now you have the sole possession of number 2 pick. You got a bunch of money. You kind of see you saw with Miami, you saw with Philadelphia how they built their rosters. You got an in-house look in terms of your own division on how Detroit built their roster. Especially with that trade for Matthew Stafford, getting those draft picks, getting that draft capital, kind of building through the draft. So now the question for Ryan Poles and the Bears front office, as well as us fans, is how do we want to approach this? Do we want to take the long-term approach and kind of do a Detroit rebuild where we're just collecting as many draft picks as possible, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, we're, perennial Super Bowl contenders? Or do we go the Miami, Philadelphia route and kind of jump started a little bit with a 1 or 2 year rebuild where, we use the draft capital now and then after next year, we trade away draft capital for like a disgruntled wide receiver, a true number 1 guy, something like that. As a fan, how would you want to approach the rebuild if you were running the Chicago Bears front office right now?
If you were asking me at the beginning of the year, I would have said slower. But just seeing Justin play, I don't think we can afford to wait 2 or 3 years. I mean, I think he'll be ready to go next year for sure. Ready to go, like really at least take us to the playoffs and win a game. So I think we need to address what we address. Our offense has been okay with the shitty pieces we have. I mean, I have no doubt we'll get at least every position will be upgraded on offense. I mean, even if we end up with Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones Jr., like, you know what I mean, that would be better than what we had this year.
I don't want Kenny Galladay at
No,
all.
I don't want either of them. I'm just saying, like, even if we ended up with the bargain barrel free agents, they'd still be better than the guys we had this year, or at least an upgrade to our wide receiver core. But I want somebody better. I think Brandon Ayuk's a free agent. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm not sure if he's a free agent this year or if it's next year, honestly.
Okay, maybe, but that if he is next year, then that would put him, you and me, on the trading block at least.
But see, I like Brandon Ayuk, right? But he's 5'8", 5'9", or whatever.
I mean, I want a 1. I'm just saying right now, Justin can play with whoever if we just get him. If we get him a couple twos.
If you were to tell me, you get like a number 1, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" guy, and then you had Brandon Ayuk and Darnell Mooney as your wide receiver core.
I mean, I really like D-Hop. I think if Kyler's going to be out for a year, D-Hop's getting traded.
See, I don't know, because here's the tricky thing with Arizona is that their head coach got a contract extension. Their quarterback got a contract extension. They're going to want D-Hop there regardless of who, you know what I'm saying? If they move on from their quarterback, they're going to want D-Hop there so that their new quarterback can be acclimated with a number 1, wide receiver. If their head coach goes, they're going to, whoever they, the next head coach is, he'll be more likely to be moved if the head coach is replaced as opposed to Kyler Murray being replaced, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think Kyler Murray is going to be replaced. I think Kyler Murray's just going to be done for a whole year now, this year and next year. And D-Hop don't got too many years left in him.
I mean, I guess it all depends, realistically. If they're going to tank next year.
I think they will. Or like Michael Thomas in New Orleans. He doesn't want to play. He's healthy, right, and not playing, right? They say he's like a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
So he's saving his body. I think he might be somebody bargain, Ohio State or Justin Fields. I mean, I'm sure they got a little bit of.
Well, we were talking about Arizona, and now that I think about it realistically, if you think about this for a second, if Kyler Murray's going to be out next year, they can go and trade D-Hop and just do, like a tank job or whatever for Marvin Harrison Jr. To be their new number 1. Because I think next year you're going to have 2 quarterbacks at the top of that draft. You're going to have Caleb Williams and Drake May.